welcome to Michelle Sews Again. I'm Michelle. Today I'm going to share with you my experience with the Bardon dress. It is a free pattern from Peppermint Magazine designed by LB Textiles in collaboration with Spoonflower. So that's a mouthful. Anyway, so I made this dress and it's blowing my mind how I'm enjoying sewing dresses when I have not historically been a dress person. I think somebody in one of my, in the comments of one of my videos really hit the nail on the head when they said they hadn't been a dress person either, but it was because they weren't finding what they liked. They didn't see anything they liked in ready to wear, and the fact that they can make it themselves any way that they want has kind of shifted their perspective, and that's completely correct. Anyway, so I made the Bardon dress last week, and let me tell you a little bit about it if you happen to not know, which would be a shocker because it's a very popular style, especially after the Frugal Frocks Challenge. A lot of people made it. So this is definitely not the last one of these I'm gonna make. It is such an easy breezy throw on style. The day that I finished it, and I'll get to that in a minute. I actually wore it out to dinner. This was on Friday. My husband and I went out to dinner, and it's so comfortable, and I love it. And it's versatile because of the tiers. You can do it all in one fabric, or you can mix and match. Anyway, so it's a tank style dress with 2 gathered tiers, and it is designed for somebody who is 5'7". I'm only 5'1". It's intended to hit below the knee. I didn't shorten it at all. I didn't shorten the bodice. I didn't shorten the tiers, and it hits me below the calf. So for me, it's a maxi, and I like that. Obviously, if I wanted it below the knee, I would have just shortened both of the tiers. And maybe I'll do that for a future version, but I like the big, long, flowy maxi style of it. It says that it's suitable, and you can obviously modify it. So you can shorten the tiers, you can do just 1 tier and make a much shorter dress, depending on how tall you are. But yeah, it's kind of versatile. It says that it's suitable for advanced beginners and above. And if you're not sure where you fall, here are the techniques that are involved. It involves gathering, binding, so you do bias binding on the armholes and the neckline, and inserting inseam pockets, and that's about it. Like, it's a pretty simple make. The gathering is probably the most complex part, and since I found the elastic method that Sam from Frugalissima taught me personally, I'm not going back. That it like just makes it so much easier. All right, so this comes in sizes A through L, which doesn't tell you anything, but the bust sizes are 31 inches to 53 inches, and that's the full bust size, which the finished measurements are 35 to 57 inches. So it's got 4 inches of ease in the bust, if that helps you. So, like I said, it's designed for somebody who's 5'7", and it's designed to hit right below the knee, and it's designed for a B cup. Now, because of the amount of ease in the bust, I did not do a full bust adjustment, but I also like my garments a little more loose fitting. I don't like them, even on the bodice, I don't like it like really fitted. So if you prefer a more fitted bodice, then you might want to consider a full bust adjustment with a smaller size. But it's a really loose fitting garment, and it's intended to be, so it just depends on what your personal preference is. The suggested fabrics are light to medium weight wovens with good drape. All right, and then the good thing is that if you are somebody who really is concerned about the environment and saving, resources, then they give you directions, or they give you the measurements for the tiers so that you can save paper and not print the pattern pieces for the tiers, which I thought that was nice. I had already sent mine to the copy shop. So I had all of the pieces printed, and I don't read the instructions until I'm ready to sew. So I didn't capture that, in time to save the paper. If you are interested in more free patterns, they have a slew of them at peppermintmag.com/sewing-school. And I'll put that at the bottom of the screen. Your fabric needs for this are anywhere from 2.4 to 2.8 yards, and that depends on the width of your fabric and the size of your garment. They do show you that for the, and of course it's all in the metric system, so you have to convert it, which I only converted the stuff that I needed. But for the less wide fabric, it gives you asterisks for the sizes that width of fabric is inappropriate for or doesn't work for. So again, the fabric width or the yardage is 2.4 to 2.8 yards. All right, so that's all my official notes. My experience with this was I enjoyed making this dress so much. I decided to make it with 3 different fabrics. I had my husband help me choose the middle tier. Hold on a second, I'm gonna go get my second option. Okay, I'm back. All right, so I knew what I wanted to do for the bodice. I knew which fabric I wanted, and I knew which fabric I wanted for the second tier, and those were mainly because of how much fabric I had. So I could have interchanged these, but I really wanted the solid for the bodice. So I used this lilac-y purple linen that I got from Joann's, and this is the same fabric that I used for the sleeves of my Valley top that I posted last week. So that is the fabric that I knew I was going to use for the top. And then this lilac and white striped is called seersucker. It doesn't have a lot of pucker. There's a little bit of pucker in there. I said that there wasn't in my fabric haul, but now that I'm looking at it more up close, there is a little bit of pucker. So I used this seersucker for the second tier, and that's because I had plenty of it. So for the first tier, I had 2 options. And the reason that they were specifically for the first tier is because of the amount of fabric that I had of each of them. So I wanted to choose between this floral, sorry, it's upside down. This floral, it's a linen. I got this from Joann's last year. And it's this pretty, it's got a green background. It's got, what are those? I don't know what kind of flowers those are. It's got little purple flowers, which is why it works with this dress. It's got some pink flowers and some white ones. Yeah, and it's a linen fabric, so it works well with the purple, and it works well with the seersucker. And then the other option that I had was this purple and white gingham. So it could have been, oops, I don't know if I can, it could have been this, which I also think would have looked really cool. I gave my husband the option to vote. I don't often do that because we don't have the same taste. But every once in a while I like to throw him a bone and give him some input. He thought that this fabric in conjunction with the stripe was too busy. I personally thought it looked great, but I also liked the floral. So the fact that I would have been happy with either is why I gave him a choice. Anyway, so this is what I ended up with. The purple with the floral and the stripes. And I think it came out super cute. Very comfortable. I used I completely forgot to include my, my bias binding in my fabric haul. Oh well, shoot, I'll put it on Instagram. Anyway, so I used this bias binding, which doesn't really go with the rest of the dress, but it works perfectly with the bodice because there is some purple in there. Is there? I thought there was. Yeah, there is. So there's some purple in some of the hexagons. And I'm just really happy with it. It's super comfortable. I am definitely going to make more of these. It's interesting because now that I have some additional techniques under my belt and some additional patterns under my belt, I'm seeing how I've bought several patterns that are similar that I could probably do some mixing and matching to get the desired effect. So I also have the, oh man, I'm peeling. I also have the, the Nova midi dress from Style Arc that is on my really short to-do list. And I was looking at it and it's not that dissimilar to this Bardon dress. It has a tank style top, but it doesn't have these have the, I wouldn't call them skinny straps, but they're definitely tank style straps. The other one is more full. So it's basically the shell of a shirt without sleeves rather than being a tank style. So it's more, I guess, more of a sleeveless bodice than a tank style, if that makes sense. And it has up to 3 tiers. So the tiers are shorter. So there are some minor differences, but I could easily, I have a top bodice in other patterns that I could use in place of the Nova midi. And I have these tiers for the Bardon dress that I could easily make adjustments to. So I could have pieced that together had I been more experienced, although I did buy the Nova midi before I downloaded the free Bardon dress. Anyway, you live and you learn, and I am learning. But I do like the Nova midi as well. It's different enough that I will be happy to have it in my wardrobe, and it is on my short to-do list. So I'll be making that very soon. Anyway, so that is it. That's my, and so my pledge for Me Made May was to start tracing my patterns so that I could decide whether or not I was going to convert from being a cutter to a tracer. And I wasn't able to do that for my April dress because I had cut the pattern pieces out before I made my pledge. And my April dress will be my next upload. I wanted to do the Bardon dress today so that I could get it uploaded on Instagram because it's also going to be my second entry for the Sew Maxi for Mother's Day challenge. But I traced the Bardon dress. So yes, it's simple. It's got the 2 bodice pieces and a pocket and the 2 tiers, which are just rectangles. But I feel like I'm progressing. So I did the Luna tank, which was probably the most simple pattern you could trace on the face of the planet. And then I did the Bardon dress, which is one step up from the Luna tank, right? As far as tracing goes, but I'm getting there. So, so far so good. I have decided, rather than feeling like this is an ancillary step in the sewing process, all of the steps are part of the process. So I need to embrace all of them equally. It's not just getting on the machine and sewing and that all this other stuff is a pain in the butt. It's all part of the experience, and I need to learn to embrace all of it because there's definitely, so, you know, I felt like being someone who preferred cutting wasn't going to be a problem for me because I'm on the bigger size. Right now, I'm close to, if I'm not the biggest size, I'm the next biggest size on most patterns. So I felt like even if I need a different size in the future because it's smaller, I'm in the biggest size. I'm cutting down anyway. The problem with that is a lot of the necklines and armholes, the arc of the size crisscrosses. So as a cutter, I am cutting off the lines for a smaller size. So tracing is actually beneficial even for somebody on the bigger size. So, you know, I'm a selfish sewer. I don't make a lot for other people, at least not yet. I am planning to make something for my sister soon. But we're pretty much the same size. So I'd probably make her whatever I would make for myself. Anyway, so I am starting to trace. My pledge is to trace anything that I sew this month, unless it's already cut out. But yeah, so I've started using my envelopes. So I actually sat down last night and I put all of the PDFs that were already cut out and paper clipped together on a shelf. I took all of those and folded them up and put them in these envelopes. So I'm all organized with my patterns. I just need to get some kind of a tub or something to put them all in. Right now they're in a wicker basket that has a lid on it. It's not gonna work for long term, but I'm getting there. So that is my experience with the Bardon dress. If you have made it, I would love to hear about your experience. If you've got photos of yours, I would love to see them. So let me know in the comments if you've got photos on Instagram or on YouTube. I would love to check you out. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you're having a great day and getting in lots of sewing. Have a great day. Bye.